Hey, so good to be on the program today again on CalDpreneurs. My name is Ephraim Osagai, anchor for this program. I am so excited to have a special guest with me today. I'm not going to go through all the preambles because last time we did that already when we had some technical issues. But I just want to get on with it. Today, I have with me Michael Feleke. Michael, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ephraim. Thanks for having me.
No worries. So just to refresh the minds of everyone, let me use this slide to help me introduce Michael very well. Michael has done a lot. As a CALD person. CALD is culturally and linguistically diverse people, or you may call it immigrant. Michael has been a multiple award-winning entrepreneur. Is the MD of Aussie Roasters, the MD of Aussie Filters, and also Michael has been a mining engineer. And I was so glad because I was part of the event when Michael received the Western Australia African Community Award. So once again, Michael, you are welcome. I'm having some echo here. Michael, is it from my end or your end?
It's clear here. I can hear you perfectly. There's no issues.
Do you have two systems on?
Two
platforms. Are you using two platforms to do this?
I don't have two platforms. Hang on. No, I don't have two platforms now.
Okay, let's just keep going. I'm not sure where the echo is coming from, but Michael, you are welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me once again, Ephraim. And it was a pleasure meeting you early on today as well.
Oh, that was a great session to do that pre-session video. It was really great to be at your work site. Sometimes until you see, you don't know what one is talking about. So I was also glad to be there today, Michael, just showing people again. So it was really great to be there. Well, Michael, can I just get you to talk a bit about your background? Who is Michael?
Well, I'm an African Australian to begin with. I was born in Ethiopia. I migrated to Australia when I was 11 years old in 1997. Ever since then, I call Australia home, just like the many of us. Throughout, I've done my schooling here in Perth. I went to high school and then university. I've completed my bachelor's of mining engineering here, and went on to do 6 years of various engineering roles, from starting as a junior undergrad, moving up to do some roles such as planning, paste fill engineering, and production roles. And then that's where I put down my engineering cap and really pursued on something different, something that I think initially I never thought I could do, but with every day you learn something new. So the role or the new sort of path to entrepreneurship kicked in 2015, and here I am now. It's 2021.
Yeah, and I think Michael, you just hit on something I want to sort of unpack a bit. Sometimes that whole process of getting onto something different is where some of us struggle with. First of all, tell us about Aussie filters and Aussie roasters, please?
Yeah, Aussie Filters was established in 2015 with the pure aim of myself transiting from my previous engineering role. I've started Aussie Filter as a mini sort of business, just to get through my time off from mining. And my initial thought was I could establish Aussie Filters. And since my wife was new to the country at the time, until she settled down and integrated into the society, I thought I might just hang around Aussie Filters and then get back to mining. That was the initial thought behind establishing Aussie Filters. When my firstborn, when we had our firstborn, I think that's when the critical decisions I had to make some critical decisions, and one of them was really to keep on going with Aussie Filters or come back and do mining, which at that point I already made a decision to say, look, maybe I should put the pause button on mining and just pursue with Aussie Filters. Initially with Aussie Filters, it's a service sort of business. We're going around restaurants and cafes, engage on them to obtain contracts. From there on, the business really took off. And to supplement the business, I had to buy some cleaning business in Rockingham. And as I said to you early on, one of the business I had to buy to supplement that was window cleaning. And I quite enjoy that because it's completely different from what I'm accustomed to. You can imagine doing the Premier's, Mark McGowan's office down at Rockingham. So from there on, I managed to meet various people in life and really kick on. And the idea really for me was to reshape Aussie Filters into a business that is purely catered for service. And I've done that by supplementing it with other businesses throughout until it's got its momentum, strength. So it took me 4 years from home to operate Aussie Filters. And then after 4 years of operations, I had to make a decision to move into a warehouse here in Canningvale. At that time, the warehouse was about, I think, 160 square. So at that point, I realized I have enough clients to start the filter business as an addition to the extraction canopy business. So from there on, I've managed to start the filter business and grow from there. And just last year, we had to make a decision to move out of that warehouse into the warehouse we're in now at Tacoma Circuit.
Yeah, thanks. I was privileged to see your site today. Unfortunately, some people that may watch this may not appreciate the kind of the level of complexity of the work you are doing, the level of investment. So can you just give a brief what really Aussie Canopy is and what is involved, the kind of work that you do, because really I was blown away today. People may not appreciate it from looking from the outside, the fact that it touches many aspects of our lives. And of course, just complementing it with coffee. So give us a size of your reach in terms of your business, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, initially, when we started Aussie Filters, it was purely servicing extraction systems. So restaurants, cafes, we service the canopies, the ducts, and the exhaust fan as well. At the time, because we didn't have the volume, we had to keep going until we realized that we met our initial targets. So the canopy it has to get done every 6 months per clients. Sometimes if the clients are busy, we do it every month or every quarter. So you can imagine providing service to a client twice a year, and you're trying to live on that. So it requires a lot of volume to sustain the business. With that on the back of our mind, we had to penetrate or break through in Perth market. We did that not through marketing. We did that through purely recommendations. The last 4 years was been one business recommending us to the other initially, and when we get to the 4th year, we realize that we've gone up in terms of volume, and now we can initiate our grease filter business, which we had to add on the extraction systems. At the time, obviously, you're adding business. You had to get the water corporation's permit. You had to get council's permit, and you have to really explain how you're going to get rid of the waste you're generating. We've done that, and we've managed to get the permits and continued operating from the warehouse we were in from 2017 onwards. And it's at that point we realized we had a space at the back, and we had to utilize that space because it's two different operations. We had to come up with an idea to get the roasting at the back, and which we have done so by partitioning a wall so that the two businesses are separate completely. From there on, things have moved on. About 5 months ago, we had planned to expand the filter business because we really thought that getting into the green, or reshaping the business into the green sort of energy business would help us in the near future. And with that thought and with that thought behind, we've managed to purchase the filter operations of Clean Duct. And from there on, now we are in a new place. We're currently doing 3 vans of filter operations per day, and we're expanding on that. So the aim really from here on is to tap into the energy market, where we want to convert all waste we generate here into a useful green energy. That would require a lot of thoughts and require a lot of capital to back us up behind. It's not easy. And at the same time, sustaining the current business is a challenge that which we are currently faced with. And
I think, Michael, we know that these challenges will be in business. I just want to apologize for those that will hear this later because of the echo behind. So I'll try and talk less, but it seems to be coming from my side. I don't know why. So, Michael, one of the importance of today's conversation, as you know, one of the key target audience for this program are other called or immigrants like you and I, or you and me. And I know that having been a mining engineer and made that transition to become an entrepreneur, running your own business successfully, Michael, how did you make that change? Because sometimes it's the most challenging part. I, 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 I wrote an article recently where immigrants are generally known to be entrepreneurial. But sometimes when we move to the Western world, we seem to allow that part of us to die. And all of us are just pursuing 9 to 5, which, as you know, in my world, that's my primary community outreach. It's difficult sometimes to bridge that gap of getting a good job. So why don't we tap into our strength, that resilience, that entrepreneurial spirit? But you are the one here today. You are a special guest. You've done it. So how did you make that transition, Michael?
It's a difficult transition, Ephraim, because as a kid, you wanted to be someone, and you have your parents backing you up, and every parent want the kids to go to uni and obtain that degree they enrolled at. After the degree, they want them to find a job and then pursue their life in that area. For me, I think my father, he owned businesses. So I remember at one time when I was at uni, he gave me a check to deposit. And I must admit, at that point, it really hit me hard, because I realized that, I'm going to uni now and I have to get a degree and I had to get hired. And I really have to fight for that position I'm in. And at that point, it triggered something. And I said, look, maybe the whole concept of having a degree is not to be at 8.4 or 9.4, 9.5 sort of roles. That was what I decided at that point. But I really wanted to explore the engineering role as well, to the point where does it end? And as you know, the industry I was at, mining, it's a cycle. I mean, mining has its own cycle every 5-6 years. When the commodity prices are down, the operation halts, and you have to really come back and find office sort of roles in Perth until things pick up. And I thought, with that sort of challenges ahead, what else can I do? I always have that thought at the back of my mind. Here's my father. He's a businessman, but he's living his life without no. I mean, he's stressing, but if he's able to do that, and I thought maybe why can I not explore that venture? And to me, it was like a trial. I'll trial it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'll get back to where I started. It was 50-50 sort of decision. I took it. At the time, my circumstances are also difficult because my wife is in the country. She's a newcomer. We're expecting a baby as well. So you could imagine at that critical point, would you leave your job and pursue something different that you're not entirely sure of what the outcome is? Or would you continue to work on and pay your mortgage and pay all the expenses in life, And at that point, I said, look, I'll give it a try. If I failed, I failed. I'm not the first one to fail. Then, things shape up and things took different routes. And then at that point, I realized I'm on the driver's seat. So if I'm on the driver's seat, I really have to look after the business from a prospect of growth, and also from a prospect of what's to come in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And having that engineering background, it really helped me immensely to see things differently. Now I'm pursuing business, but I'm pursuing it from an engineering sort of mindset, and that to me really helped and shaped the business. You talk about scheduling, you talk about planning, you talk about executing jobs from a risk sort of analytical point of view. Those are all the things that I've done when I was in engineering. So I thought, if this is just a piece of cake that I really can manage, I must admit I didn't have the business background, but I've seen it through years of living with my father, how he sort of interacts with people, how he dealt with problems, how he sort of overcome issues, and how he makes tough decisions. And I thought, seeing that on the background and attaining that knowledge and going through the engineering sort of roles, and here I am pursuing it, I thought, it can't be any easier than that. From there on, it's just, it's a clean field. I had to break through in the market, and we did. I mean, with just before I purchased CleanDuct, we were about 400 or 500 client lists in Perth, and right now we increased our services to about 20% of the market. I mean, we're pushing forward on that. There is challenges, obviously, with new boundaries, with new set goals. There are various challenges, but challenges are adventure. You have to love challenges, because at the end of the day, those are the challenges that you have to overcome, and that's the reason why you wake up or you turn into jobs every day to make sure that you've got solutions to those challenges. I have a great team, which I can't thank enough. And the good thing about my team, they are aware of our targets, and they're aware of our plans. So, they're working hard to get us there.
Yeah. And I think, Michael, you said, I still want to try and unpack that transition, because when we do this program, one of the objectives is to also have, hopefully, many more Michaels coming out of this, because there are people out there that may have questions that have come and want to go through that process, but they don't know what to do. So you said something which I think I want to unpack a bit with you. You said your engineering background is helping you with the business daily. And I think this is what people need to understand, that when you make that transition, it does not mean that you are throwing away all the value that you had. So can you just, for the sake of somebody there that may be thinking, oh, by making this transition, I'm just going to, all that I've been doing is wasted. So how did that practically, how does that help you, Michael?
It helped me a lot, because initially, you could imagine, as I said to you, I had plans to grow Aussie Filters. So whatever means I had to do it. I've got no other choice. I have to throw everything at it to grow. As I said, as a supplement, we even went purchasing window cleaning businesses to supplement that. To me, transition means, initially when I purchasing the business, initially, like I said, the mindset I was at was, this is not something I'm going to be doing for the long run. this is just on the interim. So interim meaning that at one point, our situations change back at home. When situations change at home, I will revert back to what I was doing before. And I thought that was the mindset I was in when I was going into the transition. I always thought I've got something to fall back on. Don't worry about it. If it failed, it fails, but you got something to come back to. And at that point, having plan B in the back of my mind, in a way, I became fearless, because whatever decisions I have to make, I'll make it on the basis that if it fails, I've always got something to come back to. So it could be a learning experience, or it could be an experience that I can take going forward. And I thought that point where I had to drift away, every year goes past, you have to go, you have to still have that thought, but you're further away from from where you started. So I thought at that point, I realized, look, when the business is starting to have numerous clients, I have to put the business cap on now, because I realize there's no going back to anywhere. There's no going back to unless I pursue this. That sort of mindset took effective probably on the third year of running the business. On the fourth year of running the business, I realized now I've got client lists. I had to make those decisions. And once I made those decisions, I realized that I have to be on the driving seats. And transition is not something that happens straight away. Transition is a period. It could be 2 years, 3 years. You're still unsure of what you're doing, but you're still persisting for growth. For me, that was the transition. It was the first four years of the business was transition for me, because I really had to look at the figures. I really have to look at the potentials. I really have to look at what other alternatives or what add-ons can I have on the current sort of business. So those thoughts, plus if they don't work, what is my alternative? What is my plan B? What can I fold into? And having those sort of mindset would easily transit you to a better person, I'd say. For me, the period, I always have to think, 4 years of my role, what is that in terms of time, in terms of experience, and convert that to 4 years in business. What sort of substitutions have I made, And those are the things that I think, I guess, in the first 4 years, I thought, what sort of things am I doing right now? What's happening? And at the same time, you're guiding yourself into a new territory, which is you're going into the unknowns. The unknowns are, yes, you're making contracts now, you're making new friends, you're known, people talk about your business. So that transition now is already been made, because right now you are in a new industry and you have to embrace that change as well. And I think the first 4 years was painful, but it has to be done, because it's otherwise there's no alternative. A lot of my friends will call me up and they say, "Look, Mike, what's happening with you?" And I keep telling them, I'm pushing it. It's like in mining, you're mining into the unknown territory. You could hit a fault, or you could mine into something, an old sort of workings that you've never experienced. So it's exactly the same mindset. Just keep pushing till I'm comfortable enough to feel like, yes, this is where I belong. And I think the first 4 years is a critical time for us, because as a family, one of the things that I've enjoyed was I'm always home with my wife and kids, and I'm able to do a normal family sort of lifestyle. And for me, nothing beats that. And that's what keeps me going, I guess. I mean, nothing wrong with working away from home. I'm not saying that's bad, but the circumstances I was at, for me, it was very important to be around my wife at the time, and so that she can integrate into the society without any difficulties at the time. And from there on, I think with her tremendous help as well, I was able to achieve it, because she understood business, because she was doing business back home, so she knows the difficulties of establishing a new business. For that, her support was tremendous. If she didn't knew about it, I mean, if she wasn't being supportive, I could say that it would have been a different story.
Yeah. And I think, Michael, you hit some key points there. I just put on the screen currently one of our major mantra for this program. We know that when immigrants, even skilled immigrants with double masters, sometimes PhD come, they want to go and look for a job. And I really like the balance you put already. We are not trying to put anybody down. There are people that are carved out for 9 to 5, people that want to do that. But just looking at this statement, Michael, and your experience so far, what would be your general comments in this area? Has it really helped you to? You did mention you are now on the driving seat. What does that mean to you as an immigrant?
As an immigrant, especially as an African immigrant, it's important to pursue the role you're in. I mean, it's important to be the top as you can be on the roles you're pursuing. On top of that, it's also important to adapt new opportunities as well. When I say that, as you know, we come from a background where culturally trade has been put down immensely. I mean, these are the things that we have to break. These are the things, I'd say this from the bottom of my heart. Trades, especially in the African community, is seen as worthless. It's not something that anyone wants to pursue the kids to become a tradie. And I mean, from the bottom of my heart, pursuing that and coming from a background where, what was seen as acceptable in our society, and doing a tradie job, I think we have to have accommodative mindset. We must have a level of tolerance to any jobs we do out there. I mean, this country is built on tradies. That's what I realized. It's built on tradies, pure tradies. I mean, the amount of jobs that has been created out there, the amount of they are the engine of the economy, if you like, and we have to be part of that. We have. There's no. I mean, the mindset I'm in right now. If any of my 3 kids come back to me and say, "Look, Mike, this is where I want to be," I'll push them to be that, because at the end of the day, whichever pathway we take, success only happens if we put the effort. I mean, a lot of successful people out there, you know, they are tradies. We probably don't know that, but that's how it is here. You know, you have to you have to know that. We have to know that as an immigrant, especially from an African background, we have to adapt, and we have to adapt, and we have to encourage our kids to multitask. You know, it's okay to pursue a university degree. It's good, but also it's good to be accommodative of other jobs. I mean, if they want to open up a business, we have to be supportive of that. If they wanted to pursue in sports or other areas, we have to be supportive of that. For me, the amount of, I don't see a lot of African migrants on the trades. I mean, I have to say that it's an honest truth. There are, but it's not enough. I mean, we have to break that barriers. You know, it's really important that we do that. I know on the mining sector, there's quite a lot of African migrants, but on the trades, you know, on the day-to-day jobs here in Perth, within the CBD, we have to see a lot of African businesses with an African banner going in and out. I mean, that I don't see. I'll be honest with you. But having said that, as an immigrant as an immigrant and as an African background, it's important to me that I, as an individual, break that barrier, because my kids, I can speak on behalf of others, but I can only speak on my kids. My kids, I have to do that for my kids. I have to knock on everyone's door, and I have to ensure that they are tolerant, that yes, we are capable of doing those jobs as any other immigrants. And I think once you build those sort of trust with clients, like I said, most clients, it's not a big, Perth is not a big sort of city, you know, everyone pretty much knows everyone. The hospitality industry is not as big as we think it is. It's a small, tight industry where people know people. I mean, I've managed to meet, you know, owners of one sort of business, having 4 businesses, and then the people that used to work for them, they're going out to own businesses. So it's a small, tight-knit sort of industry. You know, it's not as we assume it's big. You know, so what I'm trying to say at the end is it's important to pursue a trade. It could be a transportation, it could be logistic, it could be, you can be on, you know, welder, you could be electrician, you could be an IT, whatever trade out there. It should be looked as it should be looked as exactly with other professions, especially within our community, and that I think is a good. It's an important point to make, because it's not looked. Yeah, it's not looked as. I mean, no one out there push the kids to be a plumber. Why not? I mean, they running the show, you know. I mean, if you think of what they're doing, you probably, it's not just the money, it's just the skill, the transfer of a skill. It's an important one. I mean, unfortunately, we come from a background where trades are seen as second class. You have to be a doctor, an engineer, or you have to be, you know, someone of that sort of profile to be seen as successful. And that is, it doesn't work here, I'll tell you. It doesn't work here. I mean, I've seen it on my own sort of life. It doesn't.
Indeed.
It doesn't. That it
I mean,
doesn't.
Michael, what you just say now, I'm nodding my head because you're not the first person that have come as guests on this show that I've said it. I know that some leaders, particularly in the African community, are already discussing this. How can we dispel that myth that to be a tradie is like you are going for a lower level job? When you and I mean, you are a mining engineer, I am of oil and gas engineering background. I see what those guys do. I see what they earn. Sometimes you cannot even get close to what they earn. And then look at the value of flexibility. I mean, call a plumber to your house, electrician. You'll be out of pocket with about $300 immediately. So I think it's good that leaders like yourself, the few people I've also spoken to of the immigrant community are beginning to recognize this. Well, Michael, this is going to open another chapter for me. Maybe this will be the last major question because I'm looking at time and it goes so fast. Michael, there is a perception that for you to be successful as a businessman, immigrant businessman, it will take you a lot because you don't know people. How do you get clients when the same thing that happens with employment? You already said the pet is a small place. People generally do business with who they like, who they feel comfortable with. So from your experience, because I went to your site today, you're doing some great stuff. How did you get there? What's your response to that feeling, that perception? Who's going to buy my service?
Yeah, I think planning is good. For me, working and planning, and also learning new stuff as it goes. So the aspect of learning should not stop at university. The process should continue wherever you are. It could be on at your workplace, could be at your professional jobs. It should be a continuous sort of cycle. For me, it's really linking the likes and lacks together was what we got us here. Because at the end of the day, like as I said initially, I'm seeing things not from an operator or from a tradie sort of point of view. I'm seeing things from a point of view what sort of links together and what doesn't. And obviously, in the process, you're trying to exclude the risks factor as well. But having that mindset, yes, let's put the lags together, and then how can we add on more lags into that sort of category? It's a mindset I'm in, because at the end of the day, you'll meet different people. You meet people that's going to stay with you. You're going to meet people that's going to be like, okay, sorry, you're not my cup of tea. That's life. I'm not here to convince people to like me or to but as business goes, you cannot have a mindset where I'm going to satisfy everyone. You can't. It's impossible. Do have a mindset where you're going to say, look, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try it, and I'm going to keep going. Surely there's going to be people out there that's going to be satisfied with whatever I'm doing. And that sort of, I'd say seeing the light sort of mindset would certainly help to push on. I mean, I've met a lot of people. Some I see as a family because we've done businesses the last 6-7 years together. Some I see on and off, and some that we've met, we didn't click together first impression, but we managed to come back and sort of understood each other's mindset and tolerated, and we're doing business now. So, in life, don't take no for an answer. I've never taken no for an answer. I mean, that's part of the journey. Don't take no for an answer and continue pursuing your dream. And for me, I've never thought that when I commenced business, I'm going to push my business to a point where it's gonna become or shape up to be a green sort of business. That wasn't my thought. But having to see what's coming out of my business, which is treated as waste, then going back to study, what are the things that are done elsewhere outside of Australia? What are they doing out of this? Surely, we're not reinventing the wheel. It's already been invented. But how are they running the show elsewhere? And then having that same mindset to solve the problem we're facing is what keeps us going. And look, you can produce whatever you have, but please don't have a mindset where who's going to buy it, because at the end of the day, there's going to be people that's going to buy your products, whatever products you're producing. Don't have that setback where I'm producing this, but if someone's going to buy it, what if they don't buy it? I've spent all this money to produce it. Then what? Don't have that sort of mindset. Think global. Think where we are as in a nation. We're in Southeast Asian market. Surely there is a demand there, and also think about the experience you get out of it. For me, above all, it's experience. For me to prove it to myself that I can be the driving force, and I can be that person that can do this, irrespective of what my background is. I know at times we do put that mindset, oh no, this and that, or what about the stereotype? No, when you're driving, there's going to be a lot of people out there who want to learn what you're doing. And that is the beauty of life. I mean, if you meet people out there, if you meet a lot of highly successful people out there, they don't tell you what the formula of success is. Just keep going. I mean, that's what it is. You have to learn. You have to ensure that all your formulas are intact, they line up, and then you just keep going. And for me, Aussie Filters is that. It's because of the first initiation of it, and then all my competitors are doing other businesses, and I said, no, I'm not going to be a person that's going to pursue the same thing and come up with the same outcome. I'm going to do things differently, and I don't care what sort of cost associated with it, or I don't care what sort of time frame associated with it. I will drive it as far as I can, and that's the sort of mindset I have. And I think my advice to a lot of immigrants, especially professional immigrants of African nature or African background, or whoever or whatever background you come from, my advice is, don't have setbacks. Think about. I mean, I value my times on the mining industry because I've learned enormously from that. Enormously, because you look at people skill, working in highly stressed environment. You talk about new adapting to new sort of technology. All of these sort of things would help you out. Don't take, even if you don't like where you are, I'm sure you're going to use that mindset or that sort of knowledge you learn from there elsewhere. So, you're not losing. I mean, I have another friend who left mining, and he pursued the same job. Him and I, we talk, and we have the same sort of understanding. He is facing the same sort of challenges from the community. I mean, he tells me the lifestyle he's in right now is completely different, but it's perceived differently because he's not in the mining roles that he used to be. And it's the same thing. I mean, I don't stop because people give me a different sort of stereotype. It's not. You have to break that. My role is to break that and to prove it to myself first of all, and for my family, that yes, things can be done, and it can be done in a way that it can bring not only fruits, but it can bring stories. I want to tell my story. I'm not really, you talk about coffee. Coffee is originated in Africa. How many people know that? It was originated in Ethiopia. Not a lot of people know that. So the more you tell about your stories, the more you're breaking that negative stereotype that was set out there, especially in the wider media. You need to push that. You need to prove it to the wider audience that, yes, we have stories. We have stories that you don't know about, but we're here to tell you that. So I think,
Michael, really, I'm just watching the time now, but it looks like you kicked in the jar at the last quarter. So what you just unpacked there is so critical. So business is not just about making money. You talk about your story. I mean, I was at your premise today, and I was so excited because I see a story. Now, Michael, just to tie it together, because I'm looking at time now, but while I was at your business, I realized that you've been smart in how you sort of adding value to your business. I know we talked about some people are scared, who would buy my product, who would do this, but from what I see you do, who will not want to buy your product? Because you've gone into areas that are value adding. You've gone into areas that are green, biodiesel. So just to round up, use the opportunity to tell us about what is coming ahead with your business. Of course, without giving up your secrets, just tell your audience to inspire them, because I think what I saw earlier today is brilliant. Please talk to us.
Yeah, we're currently pursuing a plan, or we're working with the University of South Australia to build a plant in our facility, which will convert waste into energy. Simply put, we want to, since we're in a hospitality business, we want to help the industry by treating the waste into, or converting the waste into energy. And since the University of South Australia has done tremendous work, especially in Australia, in the area of biodiesel, we are currently aligned with them. Hopefully within the next 2 to 3 years, we will complete our plans. From there on, we are set the motion, or we're set to produce biodiesel as a byproduct of our waste, which we're generating here. We will be the first Western, or the second company in Australia to do that, and being the second in Australia, will be the first in Western Australia using grease waste as a feedstock to produce biodiesel, and that's where we're heading at. Now, the future looks bright, but there's challenges. There's numerous challenges that we have to overcome. And again, telling our stories and really pursuing it from not only from a business sort of angle, but from an angle of immigrant, having that dream to pursue it would certainly is a catalyst that we require to succeed. It is an African story. It's an African story in a sense that it would have a lot of exposures once things are in place, and for that, I'm fully committed to work with the OAC, and through OAC we want to showcase our stories to the wider Western Australian and Australian audiences as well.
Wow. I think the great thing is that those that were not, that for some reason maybe occupied work, couldn't be part of this today, Michael, they will watch this inspiring story. But I think we got a few people that stayed with us. I've written a couple of times to try and get them to contribute. While we're rounding up now, because we just got about 2 minutes left, I would just like to give a shout out for those that have joined us. We are so grateful. Please let Michael and I know that you are there. Put in a few comments. You may have questions for Michael before we let him go. Please, we would love to hear from you because we're rounding up now. It'd be great to hear that you are there. Please let us know that you are there. Give us a shout out, ask questions, talk to Michael and Ephraim. But I'll start rounding up now. Michael, it's been so great to have you here. I perceive this will not be the last, because with what I saw getting to one of your work site today, I couldn't get to the coffee because that was one I was looking forward to, Michael. So I think we need to do this again so that I can taste and get my coffee. Because like I said, I drink coffee. So all my coffee now, I need to go and get a good coffee machine ready for Aussie roasters, But it will be great. And it's been nice having you here today. Oh, at last we heard from somebody. Safura too. This is the Beautifiers. She was also one of our guests before. She's also another person doing great stuff with fashion. She's the Beautifier, is changing the world of fashion for immigrants, showing their story, Michael, like we're talking about in the area of fashion. So thank you so much, Saf, for being with us today. Thank you so much for leaving a comment with us. So as I was saying, Michael, I think we're going to do this again. But thank you for sharing. You have not let down, you've not heard anything back. You shared with us fully. So in just 30 seconds, Michael, what's any last minute thing for our viewers before we round up?
Yeah, I would like to say a big thank you to you, Ephraim, for not only showcasing my story, but showcasing the hidden precious stories of various African migrants. And this needs to be told to encourage and to empower, especially the youth. And I know you're doing that out of your own time, and you're not being compensated throughout. But believe me, one of the things that we would like to do or participate in the near future is really help storytellers like yourself to strengthen your to strengthen your media, so that not only us, but various others that have not been showcased in your shows can participate, and really to come back in a year or 2 years time and to say, look, yes, those are the things that we discussed about last time, and here we are now, and that is very important. I'll tell you that, because you are setting benchmarks throughout. It could be numerous, it could be various industries, but you are setting the benchmark, and I thank you for that. And as I said, we won't be any guests anymore to the show, so you're part of our stories as well. Thank you very much, Ephraim.
Absolutely, Michael. I mean, I can't stop talking about visiting your site today. You're still unpacking, but from what I saw already, I see greatness coming out of that, Michael. So it's whether you invite me or not, I'll definitely be hanging around because I see a success story there. And like you rightly said, we need to. I mean, I can only do best case fortnightly or monthly because of other involvement. But I like you for being selfless because there are other stories. There are a lot of stories to tell, Michael. But I'm so grateful that we've had you today. We just had Charles. Charles is another storyteller. Charles is doing some great stuff as well in the health industry, and he's done some business in Africa as well. Thank you so much, Charles, for joining us today, for your feedback. Charles says, your story is inspiring. Indeed, Michael, your story is inspiring. Time is fine. Normally, I like to shut it down before 1 hour, but I couldn't do that because it's just so interesting today. So, Michael, please keep it open. We'll definitely do a part 2 because we need to go to Coffee Factory as well. And then,
yeah, no worries. Yep. Thank you once again. All right. Thank you. Bye. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Bye.